Hello, this is Andrew Dugill with Hoffman Realty, Tampa Property Management, and this is another in our helpful blog series for landlords, and this one is called How Not to Lose Your Shirt, Risk Management for Tampa Landlords. And owning an investment property can be a lucrative and profitable experience, but it comes with risks, and how you as a landlord manage those risks can determine the ultimate success of your investment. So the blog today is going to be split into 4 parts, and in part 1 we're going to discuss insurance, and in part 2 we're going to discuss tenant safety, in part 3 we're going to discuss federal laws, and in part 4 we're going to discuss not renting to the wrong people. It's really critical to understand the role that insurance has in managing your risk as a landlord. Experienced landlords understand that when you become a landlord, you increase your liability profile. And new and experienced landlords are often shocked to find out that people view them as wealthy or as potential deep pockets in civil suits. Today we live in a litigious society, and we would never consider driving a car without liability insurance for bodily injury and property damage. And the same can be transferred to your rental property, where landlords will often be subject to claims from their tenants and others. And in that situation, liability insurance provides a legal defense of that claim, and should it be necessary, they pay to financially settle the claim. Effectively, liability insurance is a way for a landlord to transfer the risk from themselves as a landlord onto an insurance carrier. And there are 3 areas you have to make sure the right insurances are in place. The first area is you as a landlord. You want to have a good general liability policy in place, and these policies are inexpensive to add to an existing hazard policy, or relatively inexpensive if you want to go out and purchase a good commercial general liability policy. They're still very inexpensive, $500, $600 to get $1 million worth of coverage. You want to make sure you've got enough liability coverage to cover your net worth. Occasionally landlords will come to us and say, no, I don't want to spend the money. Besides, my unit's in an association, and the association has $1 million of general liability coverage. I don't need it. It's important to understand that that insurance protects the association and not you. If there were to be an incident occur on your property, you wouldn't have any coverage. You need to have your own policy. The second area where you need to make sure insurance is in place is with your vendors. These are the people that come onto your property, such as your yard care vendor, say your AC vendor, a plumber, a painter, handyman. You need to make sure they have their own liability policies in place. They have workman's comp or a workman's comp waiver. And if they have commercial vehicles, they have commercial auto insurance. Imagine what would happen if, say, a tree vendor were to drop a limb on your tenant's brand new SUV, or worse, your tenant was in it at the time the limb was dropped, or your painter falls off a ladder while painting the property and injures their back, and they can't work and they have medical bills. Supposing that painter decides to come after you for their medical expenses and their lost income. Your insurance company may not provide any coverage because you didn't make sure the vendors you invited onto your property were properly insured. So you need to make sure your vendors are properly insured. The third area where you've got to make sure proper insurance is in place is if you hire a property manager. And if you do hire a property manager, firstly, congratulations, you've taken an important step in lowering your risk, because you've effectively taken someone and inserted them between you and your tenant. You put a layer of protection in there. But not all property managers are equal. You want to make sure they have the proper insurances in place, a good commercial general liability policy, professional liability insurance, often called errors and omissions insurance. Make sure they have fair housing insurance in place. If they use lockboxes, make sure they have lockbox insurance. Make sure they've got commercial auto insurance in place. And these days, you've got to make sure they have cyber liability insurance and workman's comp. So the first step in managing your risk as a landlord is insurance. Make sure it's in place.